Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Tonight I shall continue to explain in brief the other 6 perfections: energy, patience, truthfulness, determination, loving kindness, and equanimity. Perfection of energy. Number 5. The perfection of energy is bodily and mental work for the welfare of others, accompanied by great compassion and the knowledge of skillful means. It has the characteristic of striving. Its function is to fortify. Its manifestation is indefatigability. An occasion for the arousing of energy or a sense of spiritual urgency is its proximate cause. The perfection of energy should be reflected upon thus. Without energy, a man cannot achieve success in worldly works directed to visible ends. But there is nothing the energetic, indefatigable man cannot achieve. One lacking energy cannot undertake to rescue all beings from the great flood of round-of rebirth. Even if his energy is only moderate, he will give up in the middle. But one bristling with energy can achieve perfection in all he undertakes. The noble qualities of energy should be further reviewed as follows. One intent on rescuing himself alone from the mire of round-of rebirth cannot fulfill his ideal if he relaxes his energy. How much less one who aspires to rescue the entire world? And through the power of energy, such round thoughts as the following are kept away. It is quite right for you to escape from the suffering of round-of rebirth by yourself alone. For so long as you are a foolish worldling, the horse of defilements is difficult to restrain, as a herd of mad elephants. The karma caused by them is like a murderer with drawn sword. The evil destinations based on these actions stand constantly before you, with open doors, and evil friends are always around to enjoin you in those actions and admonish you to practice them. And if even full enlightenment can be achieved by one's own energy, what can be difficult? In matters of the perfection of energy, the text gives the example of a lion king whose nature is to put forth maximum effort, whether in hunting a rabbit or in hunting an elephant. He does not exert less in hunting a rabbit because it is a small animal, nor does he strive more in hunting an elephant because of its great size. In both cases, he uses equal degree of exertion. Following the way of a lion king, a bodhisattva, while fulfilling the perfection of energy, does not make less effort for ordinary tasks, nor put forth more energy for more arduous ones. He always makes the same maximum exertion whether the task is small or great. As an example of super effort for the perfection, the commentary cites the story of Maha Bodhiyana. The Bodhisattva, as a Prince Janaka, made effort of swimming for 7 days in the ocean. When the ship he was traveling in sank, his strenuous endeavor was not motivated by a desire to perform wholesome acts or to practice charity, observe morality, cultivate meditation. It does not result in rising of unwholesome states such as greed, hatred, delusion either, and many thus be regarded as a blameless. Prince Janaka's supreme exertion, being blameless and being free from the unwholesome cause, as fulfillment of perfection of energy. When the ship was about to be wrecked, 700 people on board wept and lamented in desperation without making any attempt to survive the disaster. Prince Janaka, unlike his fellow travelers, thought to himself, to sweep and lament in fear when faced with danger is not the way of the wise. A wise man endeavors to save himself from impending danger. A man with wisdom as I am, I must put forth effort to swim my way through to safety. With this resolve and without any trepidation, he encourageously swam across the ocean. In every existence, our Bodhisattva undertook what he had to do bravely and without flinching. Even when he was born as a bull, the Bodhisattva performed arduous tasks. Thus, as a young bull named Kanha, the Bodhisattva, out of gratitude to the old woman who had tended him, pulled 500 cars loaded with the merchandise across a big swamp. Even as an animal, the development of energy as a perfection by the Bodhisattva is not sluggish. When reborn as a human, the tendency to put forth effort persists in him. The latent tendency to develop supreme energy remains with a Bodhisattva throughout all his various existences. The Satipatthana Vibhanga commentary and the Maha Sutta commentary describe 11 factors of development of energy. Number 1, reflecting on the danger of lower walls of existence. Number 2, perceiving the benefits accruing from development of energy. Number 3, reviewing the path to be trodden by the noble ones. Number 4, honoring the alms of devotees. Number 5, reflecting on the nobility of the inherent text. Number 6, reflecting on the nobility of the teacher, the Buddha. Number 7, reflecting on the nobility of one's own lineage. Number 8, reflecting on the nobility of companions in the holy life. Number 9, keeping away from those who are indolent. Number 10, associating with people who are industrious and energetic. Number 11, inclination towards development of energy in all 4 postures. Perfection of patience. Number 6, as regards the perfection of patience, it is the endurance of harm imposed by beings and formations, or the act of consciousness occurring in such a mode, predominated by non-aversion and accompanied by great compassion and the knowledge of skillful minds. It has the characteristic of acceptance. Its function is to endure the desirable and undesirable. Its manifestation is tolerance or non-opposition. Seeing things as they really are is its proximate cause. The perfection of patience should be considered thus. Patience is the unimpeded weapon of the good in the development of noble qualities, for it dispels anger, the opposite of all such qualities, without residue. It is the adornment of those capable of vanquishing the foe, the strength of recluses and Brahmins, a stream of water extinguishing the fire of anger, the basis for acquiring a good reputation, a mantra for quelling the poisonous speech of evil people, the supreme source of constancy, and those established in restraint. Patience is an ocean on account of its depth, a show bounding the great ocean of hatred, a penal closing of the door to the plain of misery, a staircase ascending to the walls of the gods and Brahmas, the ground for the habitation of all noble qualities, the supreme purification of body, speech, and mind. Patience shall be further fortified by reflection. Those who lack patience are afflicted in this world and applying themselves to actions which will lead to their affliction in the life to come. And although this suffering arises through the wrong deeds of others, this body of mine is the field of that suffering. Feel for that suffering, and the action which is its seat was sown by me alone. And if there were no wrongdoers, how could I accomplish the perfection of patience? And although he is a wrongdoer now, in the past he was my benefactor. And a wrongdoer is also a benefactor, for he is the basis for the development of patience. And all beings are like my own children, who becomes angry over the misdeeds of his own children. And he wrongs me because of some residue of anger in myself. This residue I should remove, and I mean just as much the cause as he is for the wrong on account of which this suffering has arisen, and all those dhammas by which wrong was done, and those to whom it was done, all those at this very moment have ceased. With whom then shall you now be angry, and to whom shall anger be roused? When all dhammas are non-self, who can do wrong to whom? If you do, it is cumulative force. Anger caused by the wrongs of others should continue to overpower the mind. One should reflect. Patience is the contributive cause for rendering help to others in return for their wrong. And this wrong, by causing me suffering, is a condition for faith, since suffering is said to be the decisive support for faith, and it is also a condition for the perception of discontent with all the world. And this is the nature of the sense faculties, to encounter desirable and undesirable objects. How then is it possible not to encounter undesirable objects? And under the control of anger, a person becomes mad and distraught. So why retaliate? And all these beings are watched over by the Buddha as if they were his own dear children. Therefore, I should not be angry with them. And when the wrongdoer is endowed with noble qualities, I should not be angry with him. And when he does not have any noble qualities, then I should regard him with compassion. And because of anger, my faith in noble qualities damaged. And to the pleasure of my enemies, I become ugly, sleep, and discomfort, etc. And anger is the only real enemy, the only real enemy, for it is the agent of all harm and the destroyer of all good. And when one has patience, one has no enemies. And because of his wrong, the wrongdoer will meet suffering in the future. But so long as I remain patient, I will not. And enemies are the consequence of my angry thought. When I vanquish anger by patience, my foe, who is the byproduct of my anger, will also be vanquished. And I shall not relinquish the noble qualities of patience all because of a little anger. Anger is the antithesis and obstruction to all noble qualities. So if become angry, how I can my virtue, etc. reach fulfillment? And when those qualities are absent, how can I devote myself to helping other beings and attain the ultimate goal in accordance with my vows? And when there is patience, the mind becomes concentrated, free from external distraction. With the mind concentrated, all formations appear to be reflection as impermanent and suffering. All dhammas as non-self, Nibbana as unconditioned, deathless, peaceful and sublime, and the Buddha qualities as endowed with inconceivable and immeasurable potency. They establish in acquiescence in conformity the groundlessness of all I making and mind making becomes evident to reflection. Thus, Maya Dhammas alone exist, devoid of self or of anything pertaining to a self. They arise and pass away in accordance with their conditions. They do not come from anywhere. They do not go anywhere. They are not established anywhere. There is no agency in anything whatsoever. In this way, a bodhisattva becomes fixed in his destiny, bound for enlightenment and irreversible. This is the method of reflecting upon the perfection of patience. Here I shall give you the example of the Venerable Buddha's mental attitude of forbearance, which serves as a good example of forbearance to emulate. Once during the Buddha's time, the Venerable Buddha approached and informed the Blessed One that he would like to go to Sunabranda district and live there. The Buddha said to him, Buddha, the people in Sunabranda are rough and brutal. How will you feel should they abuse and revile you? The elder replied, Venerable Sir, should the people of Sunabranda abuse and revile me, I will regard them as good people. Control my temper and bear them patiently with the thought, those are good people, extremely good people. They merely abuse and revile me, but not assault me with their fists and elbows. The Buddha asked him further, Buddha, suppose the people of Sunabranda assault you with their fists and elbows, how would you feel? Venerable Sir, I would regard them as good people, control my temper and bear them patiently with the thought, those are good people, extremely good people. They merely assault me with their fists and elbows, but not stone me. The Buddha asked him further how he would feel if people stoned him, beat him with a stick, cut him with a sword, or even killed him. To the last question, the elder replied, Venerable Sir, I will control my temper and bear them patiently with the thought. The disciples of the Blessed One, such as the Venerable Gaudiga, the Venerable Chana, etc., had to commit suicide. How fortunate I am! I need not kill myself. The Buddha then approved of his replies and blessed him. Again, in the Sarabhanga Jataka saga, the king of Devas asked the hermit Sarabhanga, O hermit of Kondinya, etc., what may one slay without having to repent? What may one abandon to gain praise from the Bhajuyas? Whose abusive harsh words should one bear with patience? Give me answers to those questions. The Bodhisattva Sarabhanga the hermit replied, one may slay anger without having to repent. One may abandon ingratitude to gain praise from the Bhajuyas. One should bear with patience abusive, harsh words from everyone, whether superior, equal, or inferior. The Bhajuyas call this the highest form of patience. Again, Saka asked, O hermit, it may be possible to put up with the abusive harsh words of those who are superior or one's equal, but why should one tolerate the rude words coming from one's inferiors? The Bodhisattva answered, one may bear with patience the rudeness of one's superior through fear, or the abusive words from those who are equal to ward of danger, of liberally. But the wise say that to put up with the rude words coming from one's inferiors, with no special reason to do so, is the supreme form of forbearance. In the Khaniwadi Jataka also is found the story of Khaniwadi, who set an example of supreme forbearance. When King Kalabu tortured him, not only verbally but also physically, by slashing, cutting his nose, ear, and all 4 limbs, and caused him death. Perfection of truthfulness. Number 7. As regards the perfection of truthfulness, it is non-deceitfulness in speech, analyzed into an abstinence, a volition, etc., accompanied by great compassion and the knowledge of skillful means. It has the characteristic of non-deceptiveness in speech. Its function is to verify in accordance with fact. Its manifestation is excellence, honesty, and its proximate cause. The perfection of truthfulness should be reviewed thus. Without truthfulness, virtue, etc. is impossible, and there can be no practice in accordance with one's boast. All evil states converge upon the transgression of truth. One who is not devoted to truth is unreliable, and his work cannot be accepted in the future. On the other hand, one devoted to truth secures the foundation of all noble qualities. With truthfulness as the foundation, he is capable of purifying and fulfilling all the requisites of enlightenment. Not deceived about the true nature of Dhammas, he performs the functions of all the requisites of enlightenment and completes the practice of the Bodhisattva path. Perfection of determination. Number 8. As regards the perfection of determination, it is the unshakable determination to undertake activity for the good of others, accompanied by great compassion and the knowledge of skillful means. Or it is the act of consciousness occurring in such a mode. It has the characteristic of determining upon the requisites of enlightenment. Its function is to overcome their opposites. Its manifestation is unshakableness in that task. The requisites of enlightenment are its proximate cause. The perfection of determination should be reviewed thus. Without firmly undertaking the practice of giving in the other perfections, maintaining an unshakable determination in the encounter with their opposites, and practicing them with the constancy and vigor, the basis of enlightenment, that means the requisites of giving, etc., do not rise. Here I shall relate Prince Demia's story in brief to illustrate how our Bodhisattva practices the perfection of determination. Our Bodhisattva was once the son of King of Kasi and named Demia. When the prince was 1 month old, while he was in the lap of his father, 4 thieves were brought to the king, who ordered them to be punished. The prince was shocked to see this and began sad, thinking, "What shall I do to escape from this palace?" The next day, while he was staying alone under the white parasol, he reflected on his past lives. He came to know that in his immediate past life he was a male deva in tower dancer. When he reflected further, he knew that in his second past life he was suffering in hell for 80,000 years. When he reflected further to see the cause why he fell into hell, he knew that in his third past life he was a king for 20 years in that very palace, and gave orders to punish criminals like what his father did. Having known this, he was scared to become a king. To him who was pale like a lotus flower, crushed by him, the guardian goddess of the parasol, who was his mother in one of his previous lives, said, "Do not worry, son. If you want to escape from this royal residence, resolve to pretend to be dumb, deaf, and mute. Your wish will be fulfilled." Then the prince made a resolution and acted accordingly. For 16 years the prince was tested by various means, but he remained firm without deviating from his resolution. Then the father ordered, "My son was really dumb, deaf, and mute. Take him to the cemetery and bury him there." Then a charioteer took Prince Demia to a cemetery, intending to bury him alive. Knowing that he was free then, Prince Demia started to move his body and talk when the charioteer was digging a hole to bury him. Thus, although he was variously tested and presented with difficulties, for 16 long years he remained resolute, like the example of a rocky mountain mentioned in the Buddha Vamsa. His unshaken determination is an act of tremendous resoluteness. Only when one's determination, with the kind of determination of Prince Demia, with all might and valor, and without wavering, will one be carrying out the fulfillment of the perfection of determination as observed by Bodhisattvas. Perfection of loving kindness. Number 9. As regards the perfection of loving kindness, it is the wish to provide for the welfare and happiness of the world, accompanied by great compassion and the knowledge of skillful means. In denotation, it is benevolence. It has the characteristic of promoting the welfare of living beings. Its function is to provide for their welfare, or its function is to remove resentment. Its manifestation is kindliness. The noble qualities of loving kindness should be reflected upon as follows. One resolved only upon his own welfare cannot achieve success in this world or a happy rebirth in the life to come, without some concern for the welfare of others. How then can one wishing to establish all beings in the attainment of Nibbana succeed without loving kindness? If you wish to ultimately lead all beings to the supramundane achievement of Nibbana, you should begin by wishing for their mundane success here and now. And I cannot provide for the welfare and happiness of others merely by wishing for it. Let me put forth effort to accomplish it. And now I support them by promoting their welfare and happiness. Afterwards they will be my companions in sharing the Dhamma. Without these beings, I could not acquire the requisites of enlightenment, since they are the cause for the manifestation of perfecting of all the Buddha qualities. These beings are for me a supreme field of merit, the incomparable basis for planting wholesome roots, the ultimate object of reverence. Thus one should arouse an especially strong inclination towards promoting the welfare of all beings. And why should loving kindness be developed towards all beings? Because it is the foundation for compassion. For when one delights in providing for the welfare and happiness of other beings with an unbounded heart, the desire to remove their affliction and suffering becomes powerful and firmly rooted. And compassion is the first of all the Dhammas issuing in Buddhahood, their footing, foundation, root, head, and chief. He who wants to direct his loving kindness towards all beings should be careful about one thing, and this is not to have developed passion in the quest of loving kindness, as it is one in the Nidhi commentary. Rago Medayana Mukhena Vanjeti. Passion in the quest of loving kindness is deceiving. In the Brahma Vihara Nidesa of the Visuddhimagga 2, it is stated, extension of anger means fulfillment of loving kindness, but rising of passion means destruction of loving kindness. The meaning is, when a man directs his loving kindness towards another whom he has shown anger, the anger disappears and there appears in him loving kindness, which is goodwill. Therefore, disappearance of anger leads to appearance of loving kindness. If passionate attachment appears in him while he is thus developing genuine loving kindness, his genuine loving kindness fails. He has now been deceived by passion, which assumes the semblance of the loving kindness. As loving kindness is one of the 10 perfections, it should be directed towards other beings until they return their goodwill to oneself. Loving kindness is not only included the 10 perfections, but also included in the 40 subjects of samatha meditation, which leads to attainment of jhana and such powers. Therefore, bodhisattvas and virtuous men of ancient times developed loving kindness and with sharp and intense concentration attained jhanas and such powers. To illustrate such an attainment, while fulfilling the perfection, I shall give a summary of the Seya Jataka. At one time, King Brahmadatta of Varanasi ruled righteously, fulfilling his 10 kingly duties. He gave alms, kept the 5 precepts, observed Uposatha morality. Then a minister who had committed a crime in the palace was expelled by the king from the kingdom. He went to the neighboring country of Kosala, and while serving the king there he asked him to attack and conquer Varanasi, which, he said, could easily be done. King Kosala followed his suggestion and arrested and imprisoned King Brahmadatta, who put up no resistance at all with his ministers. In the prison, King Brahmadatta directed his loving kindness towards King Kosala, who had robbed him of his kingdom, and in due course attained loving kindness jhana. Because of the power of that loving kindness, the robber King Kosala felt burning sensations throughout his whole body as if it were burnt with torches. Suffering from this particularly severe pain, he asked his ministers, "Why has this happened to me?" They replied, "Okay, you suffer thus because you have imprisoned King Brahmadatta, who is endowed with virtue." Thereupon King Kosala hurried the Bodhisattva King Brahmadatta, begged for forgiveness and gave back his kingdom to him, saying, "Let your country be yours again." From this story it is clear that loving kindness is conducive to attainment of jhana. Perfection of equanimity. Number 10. Lastly, as regards the perfection of equanimity, it is the attitude of impartiality towards desirable and undesirable beings and formations, dispelling attraction and repulsion, accompanied by great compassion and the knowledge of skillful minds. It has the characteristic of promoting the aspect of neutrality. Its function is to see things impartially. Its manifestation is the subsiding of attraction and repulsion. Reflection upon the fact that all beings inherit the results of their own karma is its proximate cause. The perfection of equanimity should be considered thus. When there is no equanimity, the offensive actions performed by beings cause oscillation in the mind. When the mind oscillates, it is impossible to practice the requisites of enlightenment. And even though the mind has been softened with the moisture of loving kindness, without equanimity one cannot purify the requisites of enlightenment and cannot dedicate one's requisites of merit along with their results to furthering the welfare of beings. Moreover, the undertaking, determination, fulfillment and the completion of all the requisites of the enlightenment succeeds through the power of equanimity. For without equanimity, the aspiring cannot relinquish something without making false discriminations over gifts and recipients. Without equanimity, he cannot purify his virtue without always thinking about the obstacles to his life and to his vital needs. Equanimity perfects the power of renunciation, for by its means he overcomes discontent and delight. It perfects the functions of all the requisites by enabling wisdom to examine them according to their origin. When energy is aroused to excess because it has not been examined with equanimity, it cannot perform its proper function of striving. Forbearance and reflective acquiescence are possible only in one possessed in equanimity. Because of this quality, he looking upon the vicissitudes of worldly events with an equal mind, his determination to fulfill the brightest task he has undertaken becomes completely unshakable. And because he is unconcerned over the wrongs done by others, he perfects the abiding and loving kindness. Thus, equanimity is indispensable to the practice of all other perfections. Such is the reflection on the perfection of equanimity. Extension of anger and love is fulfillment of equanimity. In special affairs, staying in a negligent mode without taking interest in anything leads to the impairment of equanimity. Such an attitude cannot be called equanimity. It is only an awareness which is wrongly thought to be so. Real equanimity is not indifference or unawareness. It sees both good and evil, which lead to happiness and suffering respectively. But he who observes equanimity reflects clearly, I am not concerned with those matters of happiness and suffering. They are the results of their own good and evil deeds. In the needed commentary, it is said, extreme absent mindfulness appearing as indifference with regard to various sense objects, either good or bad, is deceptive. Delusion disguised as equanimity is deceptive. Reluctance to perform deeds of merit also tends to deceive, by assuming the appearance of the sublime mode of doing equanimity. Indolence for doing good deeds is also likely to pretend to be equanimity. Therefore, one should take care of oneself not to be deceived by either delusion or indolence that is apt to behave like equanimity. Equanimity is not an attitude of neglect. On the contrary, it does pay attention to and takes interest in the object of contemplation. In doing so, one says to oneself, nothing can be done to make beings, including myself, happy or unhappy. Those who are possessed of good karma will be happy, and those who are possessed of bad karma will be unhappy. Since their happiness and unhappiness are related to their past deeds, nothing could be done about them. Only profound reflection in this vivid manner with living beings as objects of contemplation constitutes genuine equanimity, since it involves neither anxiety nor uneasiness. It is noble, serene, and calm. Like loving kindness, equanimity is one of the 40 subjects of samatha meditation and one of the 10 perfections. If you really want to practice the perfection of equanimity, you should first practice loving kindness, compassion, and appreciative joy in succession up to the third jhana. Having emerged from the third jhana, you should practice equanimity until you attain the fourth jhana, with all beings in the infinite universe as object. You should also practice vipassana until attaining the knowledge of equanimity about formations. This is the highest equanimity that you should fulfill. Since we have not enough time to discuss the imperfections in detail, I will suggest you to read the commentary of Chariya Vidika to acquire deeper wisdom regarding how to practice Bodhisattva path. So, I shall stop my talk here. May those who wish to practice Bodhisattva path become a confirmed Bodhisattva soon, and may those who wish to attain Nibbana achieve their goal soon. Compassion in our Theravada Vidikas, compassion is called Karuna. Lust is Raga. Lust is Akusala Dhamma, unwholesome Dhamma. Compassion is Kusala Dhamma, wholesome Dhamma. In another word, lust is attachment to different sensual pleasures, enjoyment in sensual pleasures. Karuna is not enjoyment in sensual pleasures. Karuna is, if you try Karuna systematically, then you can attain up to that jhana stage. This is wholesome state.
Metta, loving kindness.
I had been explained last. Lust is only we call in Pali terms raga. Loving kindness is metta. Metta is only pure mind, to see the enjoyment and happiness of beings. Lust is the sensual pleasure, attachment to the different sensual objects. So they are both not same.
I didn't get the first part about metta. Can you repeat?
Metta is loving kindness.
Can you repeat one more time, slowly? Sorry.
Lust is in Pali terms, it is called raga. Attachment to the different sensual pleasures, attachment to different sensual objects, attachment to each other.
To each other.
To each other.
Sensuous attachment or sensory attachment?
All include.
All included.
So this is akusala dhamma, a wholesome state. It can produce to reach hell. But metta is loving kindness.
That's loving kindness. Metta is loving kindness.
This is metta is wholesome dhamma. Metta is pure. Metta is the desire to see the welfare of others. Metta does not attach to different sensual objects. So if you can train loving kindness systematically, you can attain up to that jhana. But lust cannot produce any jhana.
Metta is a giving with it from the heart. Metta. There's no desire for return or reward.
No desire for return. Pure mind.
Desire and lust have that element of reward that they require for reward.
Sometimes desire and lust concomitant together in some cases. Suppose they have attachment to their sons and daughters. In this case, the desire follows after the attachment. They are concomitant. But sometimes there is also wholesome desire. The desire for the welfare of all beings, this is pure. That desire is we call sama chanda, kusala chanda, wholesome dhamma, not unwholesome.
This kind of desire, is it called the desire of the heart?
Maybe what is heart?
I told her to go back and reflect.
If you mean heart means consciousness, it is true.
Coma. Euthanasia. She asked a question about euthanasia. When a person, now in Western medicine, when a person becomes very, very sick, there's no chance of him surviving or recovering again. Then the doctor do something to let him die or kill him, so that he will not suffer anymore from his sickness. So she is asking, because the doctor killed the person out of compassion so that he will not suffer the illness anymore. So he is asking, is this compassion or is this a murder? In the view of Buddhism, do we agree to such kind of mercy killing? If the patient is in a coma, like a vegetable, can we kill him, or with some kind of poison or something? Okay, I'll repeat again.
Very long. I cannot get the idea.
Slowly, huh? When a person becomes very, very sick, his mind already may be dead, huh? Or maybe he have cancer, suffer much, and there is no chance of him recovering. Okay, then in Western medicine, some people say, out of compassion, so that the patients will not suffer anymore, so they do something like give him poison, so that he die quickly, and will not suffer pain from the illness. So he did kill the person out of compassion and mercy. In Buddhist viewpoints, how should we look at such kind of killing?
This is also Banali Bada.
Huh?
This is also Banali Bada. We call this is killing beings.
Killing.
Killing.
So not possible.
Not possible.
Even this.
Maybe this is the intention of the doctor only, but for patients, this also maybe produce many dangers. He may suffer at that time because of this problem. He may have unhappiness in time of death, but he cannot speak. He cannot talk anymore, but he may suffer different pains maybe.
Different
unhappiness, uneasiness, etc. But we cannot say exactly at that time mind is very subtle. So he may suffer so much at that time.
After you kill him?
After they suppose 2 injections, maybe poison, maybe. So at that time he may suffer. That suffering is very important because death is near. At that time, because of this action, unhappiness objects may occur in his mind. This is problem.
Happiness can occur.
Undesirable objects. Maybe we
Undesired object. I see. She is asking, even if the person is like a vegetable, he cannot think, he cannot see, he cannot move anymore, still not possible to kill him?
Yes, we should not do like that. Because his destination is very important at that time.
I see. She is asking, if the person is already like a vegetable, no more thinking, his brain is dead, no?
Maybe if we call life faculty jividendriya. Life faculty, jivida, life faculty is still present. We cannot say he is dying. They may say unconscious at that time, but really consciousness is successfully occurring at that time. If one has the right attention, every object can be the supporting cause for upanisya. Upanisya means the strong, powerful supporting cause for every perfection. If there is no suffering, only happiness, then it is not necessary to do the welfare of beings for fulfilling his paramis, perfections.
Venerable, you talk a lot about observing, for example, the nama rupa and all that. What is it that is observing?
In some cases, they use discerning. Discerning.
Discerning. Sometimes it's translated as observing. Observe.
No, usually they translate discerning.
Descending.
Discern. D-I-S-E-R-N.
D. Then who is the one that's doing the discerning? Who is the one that's doing the discerning? Who is the one, or is there who is the one that can discern?
Inside knowledge. We call inside knowledge.
Inside knowledge.
Inside knowledge is there are altogether sometimes 34 mental formations, sometimes 33 mental formations. What are 34? What are 33? If you want, then you should practically study.
But when you see that we observe the rising and the passing away of the rupas and
mentality and materiality.
Who sees? Nobody?
Inside knowledge only.
Inside knowledge only.
Inside knowledge, we call inside knowledge also sankhara formation. The objects are also sankhara formation. Sankhara sees only sankhara. There is no one who sees the dhammas.
So, is there a base for inside knowledge? What is the base? What's the foundation of inside knowledge?
The foundation of inside knowledge is concentration.
Concentration.
The foundation of concentration is purification of bhaju.
So can we say there is no foundation for inside knowledge? I mean, the foundation, what I mean is there's... So what is inside knowledge?
Inside knowledge means there are 34 mental formations.
Mental formation.
Maybe if you study practically or if you study Abhidhamma, then you will understand, I think.
So there is no one that's observing, but there is the inside knowledge that happen, that exists.
This is also impermanent. Insight knowledge also impermanent, not permanent. The objects of mentality, materiality, they are also impermanent. Both are impermanent.
Impermanent. So this insight knowledge does not need a person to be able, does not need a person to function. There is no person behind this insight knowledge.
There is some paramis.
Some
paramis. In this life, you must try systematically concentration practice. If your mind, the concentrated mind can see the Pramada Dhammas as they really are. That seeing is called insight knowledge.
But who sees?
Yes, sankharas. We call mental formations only.
Only formation only. And only mental formation that sees. But mental formation is impermanent.
Impermanent.
And anatta.
The objects also impermanent, both.
But from this seeing, the insight knowledge happen.
Maybe there may be some cause and conditions. There must be base, there must be object, there must be attention, etc. So there are different causes. Because depending on different causes, the insight knowledge occurs. But the proximate cause is right attention, yoniso manasikara. This is proximate cause only. But if there must be base means especially heart base. Without heart base, the insight knowledge cannot occur. There must be object. The object is materiality or mentality. Without object, the insight knowledge also cannot occur. There must be right attention. If you pay wrong attention, then insight knowledge also cannot occur. So there are different conditions. Sharing merit. Idame Bunya Aswakaya Waha Hodu Idame Bunya Nibbana Sa Pachyo Hodu Idame Bunya Sabha Sadhana Pajema Desabe Mesama Punya Baga Labandu Sadhu Sadhu Sadhu